After 3 days on edge, Harare finally got a release and toasted its new heroes. A crowd this big was last seen here at Independence, then welcoming Robert Mugabe. On Saturday, it was to try to force him to say goodbye. Zimbabwe's leader has been refusing to step down despite a SADC-led mediation effort and mounting calls for him to do so. Placards denouncing the previously revered leader were waved as people gathered to give him a final push.
Well, all the people walking behind me have come from different places, but for now, they're all determined to go in the same direction. That's the way to Zimbabwe State House. That's where they all want to go to tell the incumbent to leave.
They were barred from entering the official state residence, but the unprecedented protest is seen as the turning point for a country that's been dogged by political and economic instability for more than a decade.
Zimbabwe is breaking with the past. We are shaping a new future, a new Zimbabwe. As Zimbabweans, we are united as Zimbabweans to say Mugabe must go. Mugabe must go and give this country an opportunity to shape a new future.
Zimbabwean flags were being waved with renewed optimism.
We are tired of staying at home with nothing to do. We are looking forward to a new government that can create opportunities for us because we have been to school, but we have nothing to do with that education.
If President Mugabe refuses to step down, his ZANU-PF party has already begun a process to recall him as its leader. Farai Mwakutuya, CGTN, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Well, let's now get you an update from CGTN's Farai Mwakutuya, who joins us live from Harare. Farai, have the protests ended? What's the latest?
Well, Karen, indeed, the official protests have indeed ended, and in that respect, I mean, people have marched to the president's residence, but have now since been dismissed and dispersed from there. The army spokesperson thanked everyone for their effort and their show of support, and said that you know, the journey begins with the first meter, and that it can not all be achieved in one day. But I can tell you that there's still a carnival atmosphere in Harare CBD. People are still in that mood of celebration, of unity, of just, you know, that euphoria that was enjoyed earlier in the day. So officially ended, yes, but people still enjoying themselves on the streets of Harare CBD. Karen.
And Farai, the protests were meant to pile pressure on President Mugabe. Have we heard any reaction from him or those close to him?
Well, within Zimbabwe, we haven't heard anything from him, but we have seen media reports quoting his nephew, who also happens to be a government minister, the Minister of Public Service. His name is Patrick Joao, and he's apparently told an international media outlet that he's speaking from South Africa, and said that President Robert Mugabe and his wife were willing to die for what they believe is correct. And here, what they believe is correct, what President Mugabe believes is correct, is that there must be a constitutional change in leadership. It must not be forced through this military action, that if he is to step down, he must not be forced because of what's happened now, but should go through proper procedures. And so if it is at the party level, that he should step down at the Congress, and if it is at the national level, then he should be allowed to see out his term, which expires next year in 2018. Karen.
Now, Farai, while the army maintains that their intervention is not a coup, they have seemingly endorsed today's rally and called by the war veterans for Mugabe's exit. What is the army's strategy and what are the options?
Well, their support for this march was essentially when they issued a statement yesterday giving it the go-ahead. They said, people were free to express themselves as enshrined in the Constitution, and they wouldn't stand in anyone's way, be it the war veterans or any other group that wanted to show its solidarity or express itself. I think it may not necessarily be the military's next plan, but the plan for those who want to see President Robert Mugabe step down, there are a couple of options. One would be what has already started, which is at a party level where there are now efforts to recall President Robert Mugabe. What that will mean now is to see a vote of no confidence passed in him. There's also a process that could be done at parliamentary level, which is to impeach him. So all those are the options that are available, but also bearing in mind that there's still this diplomatic avenue that is open, this mediation effort that is being led by SADC. So at this stage, those are the options, Karen.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. That was Farai Wakatuya there for us live in Harare.